Good morning, this is Deepak. Today is Friday and I think it's the 2nd of June, and I'm in Boston and I'm here for the day, and then I'm traveling to Atlanta where I will be doing a public television special on You Are the Universe. So today I'm continuing my discussions with you on the questions that are coming up at discoveringyourcosmicself.com, and they are of course drawn from the book You Are the Universe. I just want to get a copy of that here. So here we have the copy, and this is the book co-written with Menos Kafatos, who's a cosmologist, and also he is a quantum physicist and climate change expert. By the way, I'm very sad that the US has opted out of the Paris climate agreements, and so other than Nicaragua and Syria, the United States is the only other country in the world out of 191 countries who has not agreed with the rest of the world on how to temper climate change. This is a sad outcome of what is happening in the United States. You know, I was reading statistics that the US represents about 5% of the world's population, and yet we consume more than 80% of the world's opioid painkillers, which means we are suffering a lot. We also make more weapons and have more weapons of destruction than the 6 other countries combined that also are huge weapons manufacturers. We have enough military arsenal and nuclear weapons to destroy the world at least 5 times or 6 times over. At the same time, we are not now participating in the tempering of climate change. We have a presidency that seems to be failing, and we have a very divided country. So in a way, it is a sad time. We are suffering, and maybe the suffering will bring about healing as well. Because when there's crisis, there's change, and there is sometimes reflection. We are no longer the United States of America, but the divided States of America. So a lot to think about, What kind of world are we creating? What kind of world do we want our children to inherit? What kind of world do we want our grandchildren to live in if they actually see that opportunity? Because the way we are moving towards climate change, there could be millions of climate refugees, new epidemics, war and pestilence and violence. So somebody just now said, Deepak, you disappoint me when you get political. No, I'm not getting political. The politics is just a reflection of our collective consciousness, which at this moment seems very much in a state of chaos, confusion, and and violence. So we need healing, and the healing requires thought leadership, political leadership, corporate leadership, business leadership, and leadership from all of you who think we shouldn't get political either. But I think we need to activate an integrated politics where each of us is a visionary for the future, and each of us is an example for the future. Each of us has to be the change we want to see in the world, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so now back to you are the universe, discovering your cosmic self and why it matters. And I think only discovering your cosmic self will ultimately heal the world. So today's topic, which I'm asking, is the universe and consciousness. Are they both co-evolving? Do the universe and consciousness both co-evolve? And the short answer is yes. Okay. But now for the long answer. But the question came as this discussion came about as a result of a comment from one of our readers, and it is Gina. And Gina says, "I'm reading the book, but I haven't completed it. I've been listening to Deepak's answers to the questions for quite a while. Do you think qualia can be passed down to our children? We pass our DNA to our children, and it is beyond amazing how the zygote with no brain has an intelligence all its own and directs the making of the embryo. It is so obvious to me that consciousness is directing this, but it does involve pre-existing DNA. I know that DNA is a human construct, but from our human point of view, that is what we have in order to communicate with one another." So far, everything totally accurate. I know that epigenetics is a newer area that deals with this concept. I love the idea that you're mixing science with spirituality. The great teachers from all the different religions sure knew the deep meaning of life. Dr. Kafatos and Dr. Chopra believe that putting these two areas, science and spirituality, together is the only way that makes our path clearer. Thank you both. Okay, so it's a long question, but it gets to where we want to go today. Science mostly deals with the observed world, and its metaphysics, if you want to call it, is that the nature of reality is physical. That includes all the forces of nature, electromagnetism, gravity, strong and weak interactions, and subatomic forces. That is the fundamental ontological primitive of science. The world is physical. Spirituality, on the other hand, says that the world is made out of consciousness, and consciousness is the fundamental ground of existence. We could say that science represents the scenery and the examination of the scenery, and spirituality represents the seer and the mode of seeing in the states of consciousness in which that seeing occurs. So Gina has very accurately said that DNA, brain, embryo, these are human constructs for modes of knowing and experience, and I think we are there right now. We all agree on that. So the universe is a human construct, but it's also an experience. It's an experience derived from sense perceptions, sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, and inferences based on sense perceptions. And the extension of our sense perceptions through great technologies that we have today. So according to this principle, the universe is the organization of experience and the construction of experience into a concept called the universe, into a concept called the body, into a concept called the mind, because mind, body, universe are modifications of consciousness. And consciousness is all there is. And consciousness evolves as species of consciousness. As species of consciousness. Plants are a species of consciousness. Animals are a species of consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Primates are a species of consciousness, and we are a species of consciousness. So as that species of consciousness evolves, so evolution of species in this understanding is not random mutations and natural selection, which is a good mechanistic model, but evolution is guided by consciousness through species of consciousness that have an ever-expanding range of experiences. And so the range of experiences you and I have as a result of the evolution of consciousness as species of consciousness is much more than the range of experiences that a plant has, or a paramecium has, or other animals have, reptiles have, or other mammals have, or even primates have. So as species of consciousness, we've been able to infer, based on some kinds of observations and mathematics in human consciousness, that there are 2 trillion galaxies, that there are 700 sextillion stars, that there are trillions of planets. So no rodent knows that, no dolphin knows that, no whale knows that, no tiger knows that, no lion knows that. This is this universe that we are talking about. That's why we say you are the universe, is conceived, constructed, governed, and comes into existence as an experience in human consciousness. But human consciousness is one branch of consciousness from a formless, eternal, uncreated, invisible, intangible, unborn, limitless, unbounded, timeless consciousness, which is a field of infinite possibilities. And so consciousness, being infinite, has infinite qualities that we call qualia, and these qualia also evolve, these qualities of consciousness evolve as consciousness evolves into the universe through species of consciousness. Now just mind, just know that what I'm saying right now is not accepted by mainstream science. Mainstream science still is based on a physicalist ontology. The ontological primitive of the universe is matter. But we already know that matter is not material. We already know that everything that we call physical arises from the non-physical. So, notwithstanding that mainstream physicists and materialists and scientists and biologists, notwithstanding, do not agree with the model that I'm suggesting, I am saying it's the only tenable model, because matter is just the interpretation of experience, and experience is a modified form of consciousness. So consciousness by itself doesn't need to evolve, it is everything. But in order for experience to evolve, it evolves as species of consciousness and co-evolves. So yes, based on this understanding, Susan says, what about the theory that all times are happening at the same time, so we are living several realities at the same time? Well, Susan, in the deepest level of existence, there is what we call the deep now, where past, present, and future coexist. Just like if you have a CD player and a movie on the CD player, the beginning and the middle and the end of the movie are in that CD player or DVD. Or if you have a link to a song, the beginning, middle, and the end of the song are all there. But as experience, we evolve in time. The experience evolves in time. So yes, your children will inherit your qualia according to this model, and so would their children. But it is the nature of qualia not only to recycle, but to evolve. So there's recycling, there's evolution, there's self-regulation, there's self-organization, there's creativity, there's imagination, there's intention, there's evolution into expanded levels of experience. And today that has brought us to where we say that there are 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars, and trillions of planets, all conceived, governed, constructed, and coming into existence in human consciousness. And the human consciousness is part of the scenery as well. As the body-mind, the human consciousness is part of the scenery as well. Now, I do know, as I said, that mainstream scientists objects to this. In fact, mainstream academics have even created a website called the Wisdom of Chopra, where they put in random quotes of mine, and they've done studies to show that some people can't tell the difference between my quotes and the randomly generated quotes from a computer. Be that as it may, I am maintaining that consciousness is the only reality. Consciousness is that which we call mind, that which we call body, that which we call the universe. And even other species of consciousness are human constructs in human consciousness. Just so that we as a human species can see how consciousness, which is impersonal, infinite, dimensionless, is evolving into what may be infinite modes of expression and ultimately infinite universes. So if you read the Yoga Vishishta, you'll see a very beautiful phrase: infinite universes come and go in the vast expanse of consciousness like motes of dust dancing in a beam of light. It's a beautiful image, but it is the current understanding already through science, which is an activity in consciousness as well. So do qualia evolve? Yes, I think they do. Principle here is recursion. Everything recurs, recycles. Complementarity, mind and body and universe are one. Evolution, creative interactivity, all within the one being. If there was only one sentence to summarize this, we would say there is only God. God is infinite being, and we as ripples in that vast ocean of consciousness, ripples in time. But as we go deeper into our own nature, then we are not just the ripples, we are also the ocean of consciousness that is rippling in time. So I hope that answers Gina's question, and I hope, knowing this, we can together, through our personal transformation, create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And I mention sustainability right now because we need a sustainable planet, and that sustainable planet will only come if we are sustainable within ourselves, integrated within ourselves as mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so I hope this is something that you're in alignment with, and that we can have more people in alignment, so that we can actually move in the direction. There's a fork in the road right now. One side says extinction, destruction, climate change, unsustainability. The other fork in the road is peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, happier world. So that's where we are. Okay, the fork in the road. The choice is now. The choice is now. Peace. Have a wonderful day, and I'll probably speak to you from Atlanta. The book, once again, is You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self, Why It Matters. The discussions are right here on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. Thank you. Before I end, Cyprian says Brahma created Shiva and Maheshwara. Brahma, Shiva, Maheshwara are the three faces of the divine. Brahma, creation; Maheshwara, maintenance; Shiva, destruction. Metaphors for the universe eternally recycling itself and evolving in consciousness. Thank you, and have a good day.